I'm really glad that I don't have any employees, and now I don't even have a business.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Abby. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. This is Melissa and Corey. Could you just let us know if you can hear us okay?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. We are ready to go whenever you are.
Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the regular board meeting of January 11th to order at 9 a.m. Melissa, will you please call the roll for the meeting?
Okay, Director Balin,
Here.
Director Boatwright,
Here.
Director Kearns,
Here.
Director Ringen,
Here.
and Director Murphy should be joining us shortly.
Great, thank you. Okay, so at this point, let's all put ourselves on mute and please join me while I say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Well, we'll begin with public forum then. We would like to welcome the members of the board who have taken, of the public, who have taken the time to attend this meeting and provide comments on matters related to district business. Any member of the public may wish to address the board relating to any matter within the board's jurisdiction. This need not be related to any item on the agenda. However, the board cannot act on an item unless it was noticed on the agenda. Persons speaking during the public comment will be limited to 5 minutes, or depending on the number of persons wishing to speak, it may be reduced to allow all members of the public the opportunity to address the board. At this time, Corey, are there members of the public that would like to address the board?
Not at this moment, no.
Thank you. Then I will conclude the public portion of the meeting, and Melissa, would you please read the items on the consent calendar?
Okay, item number 1, minutes of the regular board meeting of December 14th, 2021, and special board meeting of December 16th, 2021. Item number 2, approval of reimbursement claims for director's statement of meetings attended and or travel expenses and claim summary for December 2021. Item number 3, consider adopting a resolution making findings in support of continuing remote meetings pursuant to AB 361.
Thank you. Is there any director that would like to pull one or more items before we approve the consent calendar? Okay, seeing or hearing none. Corey, is there any member of the public that wishes to comment on the consent calendar?
Not at this moment, no.
Okay, great. Then if there's no further discussion on those items, is there a director that would like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the consent calendar.
Thank you.
I would second that.
Thank you, Director Boatwright. Is there any further discussion? Corey, any member of the public?
Not at the moment, no.
Thank you. Then Melissa, will you please call for the vote?
Okay, Director Balin,
Aye.
Director Boatright,
Aye.
Director Kearns,
Aye.
Director Murphy is still absent, and Director Ringen.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes 4-0 with Director Murphy absent.
Thank you. So on to regular business. Melissa, please read our first item.
Okay, item number 4, consideration to adopt a resolution expressing appreciation to Tuolumne Utilities District staff for their dedication to the district and the community during the recent storms through the Christmas and New Year holidays.
Okay, before I let Abby take off with this, I just feel need to just let you guys know how I feel. And I know for most of us, this isn't the first time we've endured something like this. In fact, almost every year we have some sort of a snow incident. At least we hope we have some snow. And and in this case this year we had quite a bit of snow, a lot of snow and rain in a short period of time. And like I said, we're used to it, but that doesn't diminish the fact that an awful lot of hard work was performed by our crews. Backbreaking work, very tough conditions, arduous walking, for miles and miles in snow, carrying equipment and tools because you can't just drive to these sites to get this work done. So anyway, Eric would be here, but he's attending a county meeting, a very important county meeting right now. But Abby's here prepared to give us an overview of the incident. Thanks, Abby.
Yes, thank you, Don. President Balin, members of the board. Don't see any public on, but if they're at home watching, Happy New Year, everyone. It was an eventful New Year's for the district and for our systems. And I know people throughout the community that were out of power. And I think most of them had water though, but like Don said, our folks, when we have significant weather, especially low snow and significant amounts of snow, that can cause a great impact on our system, especially the open water ditches. So before I go into the resolution, we do have about a dozen or so photos that we thought we would just start out with to give you a little visual illustration of what the conditions were for our folks that were out working over the Christmas and New Year's holidays. So I am going to share screen. And, okay. Oops. I don't want, let's see. Are you guys seeing this in presenter mode or just?
I think we are not.
Yeah, we're seeing both pages.
Yeah, it's presenter mode, Abby.
Okay.
Try swapping it.
Yeah, there we go.
You
Is
got
that better? Okay, wonderful. Okay, so if you have questions, feel free to stop me. I may not be able to answer them, but probably between Don and I, we can answer them. Like Don said, Eric Hall, our operations director, is at the Tuolumne County Board of Supervisors meeting on this item and another item. So so between December, we had a couple of things happen around the Christmas holiday where we helped out with in Twainhart with many of you, I imagine, read that there was an issue at the Twainhart Lake Dam. So we offered some mutual assistance there for that lake. And then certainly beginning right after the Christmas holiday and into New Year's, we received quite a bit of snow. So we're going to walk through. These photos are of mostly of the ditches. However, we did have impacts at our water treatment plants and some of our sewer facilities as well. So we will get going, and please stop me if something freezes up or you have a question. Okay, so this first photo is of the ditch at section 4. And so we had quite a number of trees down over the ditches. that were in the ditches and kind of over the ditches like you see here. Our folks have cut out approximately 100 trees. So this is after, you know, many years of hazard tree removal, but so quite laborious with having to hike into these locations with heavy equipment and things that they've done. So the next slide, this is the Eureka ditch, Flume B. As you can see, trees came onto this flume. This is a flume that we own on the Eureka ditch. I will tell you the employee that we had, John Pesci, there in that photo, it does look like he's standing underneath, but I did confirm that was about 15 feet away, if not more, from this location. So I was concerned about this, the optics of this, but so this was an area that we have another slide that will show you.
This just want to tell you, orientate. This is Flume B. It's in the Sherwood Forest area.
Okay.
It's in the Twin Heart Service District area there, off of North Tuolumne Road, to give you a perspective where that is.
Perfect. Thank you, Don. Okay, and then you've heard probably a number of occasions where we've talked about our crews needing to float snow on the ditch. So our open water ditches do get a lot of snow in them and ice, and oftentimes if they do freeze solid, then our crews kind of walk through the ditches basically to break up this snow and ice. So that is on the upper Soulsbyville ditch.
What's important here, Abby, is different. You know, like I said, almost every year we do some level of this effort, and you know, we've gotten really good at it. But what's most important is you actually have water to float snow in. So if the main canal is intact, if PG&E is able to deliver us water, then we have the water behind us to actually do a lot of the work. The troubles comes when the main canal and PG&E can't deliver us water, then we can't hardly do this effort. So anyway, just.
And this actually, are you seeing this video?
Oh, wow.
Abby, when you get a moment, Director Ringen has his hand up for a question, I believe.
Great. Go ahead, Director Ringen.
Yeah, Dawn came close to answering the question that I had. Is I understand how this walking in the snow and ice thing is supposed to be done. Matter of fact, several years ago, when I was a little bit younger, I actually thought that I wanted to walk the ditch with the crew during one of these episodes. But my question is, and by the way, I don't have that thought anymore, because I would be buzzard bait. They could just leave me out there and that would be the end of it. But how in the world did the crew get this thing to flow again because Flume got knifed, and that would have stopped the water? I've been wondering about that ever since that huge snowfall.
Yeah, so likely this is after the this video and pictures after the flume was repaired and water was restored.
But why wasn't it clogged? To me, it would be a almost insurmountable job to get the darn thing flowing again. There was so much snow.
Yeah, I think you're just seeing work that's largely almost completed by the time you're seeing this picture. There's other pictures I think that'll illustrate the ditch is completely plugged up.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Abby, can we see that video run again, please?
Yeah, you bet.
Pretty impressive.
Yes, it is.
Okay, oops. Okay, this is another part of the Eureka ditch, Flume, Flume C, that, as you can see, had another tree that came down on that. This is the Crystal Falls Water Treatment Plant, and I think what are we seeing here, Don?
Yeah, so when I saw this, I wondered about that generator. That Generac generator there, it's by the steel tank. That generator is every bit of 25 years old. And when I was an operator here, that generator would give us fits from time to time. And so I was just asking the crews how that generator was working. And the generator's fine. The problem is we needed another generator to run the well because, again, there was no water in the main canal. So we had to fire up there's a plant well near where this second portable generator is. So that's why we had 2 generators there.
Okay, so you've got the permanent one there, and then the one that says I-25 there, that's portable.
Yeah, so this is the Crystal Falls water treatment plant, and just above the steel tank, and just barely above by elevation of maybe 2 feet is the main canal ditch. And it flows by gravity into this, we call it a clarifier, and then on down further to the right to the rest of the treatment plant.
Yes, and I see Director Ringen's hand up, and then Director Kearns.
Okay, so that's a pretty good size secondary generator. I wonder, that had to have been quite an exercise to get that thing up there. And then my other comment or question is do the crews have to snow plow to get to where they got to go? Because my God, if that's Crystal Falls, that had to have been waist high and at least in snow.
Yeah, absolutely. You know where that cul-de-sac ends there on Mount Elizabeth Drive in the cul-de-sac. Well, oftentimes we're not, especially early in the morning, it's not really plowed by the county to that point. So oftentimes we got to plow our way all the way into the cul-de-sac, and then the half mile or so down to the gate to the treatment plant, and then down the road to the treatment plant. So it's quite an exercise just to get it plowed. A number of years ago, 2010, I believe it was, we bought our first plow. Before then, we relied on contractors in the county to do all the plowing for us. We found that to just not be good enough for us as far as timing goes and consistency goes. So 2010, I think it was, Bob Slater was here. He bought our first plow. And then last year we bought our second plow. So we now have two rigs ready to plow. Because, we got to plow here, Crystal Falls, Cedar Ridge, across the street and up the hill to Cedar Ridge, into Ponderosa Hills and Twain-Hart Wastewater Treatment Plant. We got to plow all over the place. So yeah, it's quite an effort to get these generators and equipment where we need them.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Director Kearns.
Yeah, Don, just a clarification for my own information. So, okay, so the second generator was brought in to run the well, you said, correct?
Right.
So that well is not normally in service, then I assume, correct?
Correct. We only use that during main canal outages. Case in point, every year we have the annual main canal outage, or anytime there's an emergency with the main canal, we fire up this well.
Okay, right on. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, the next photo. So this is prior to water being released back down through the main canal after.
We do
Oh,
have
I'm
Director
sorry.
Boatwright that has just raised his hand just now for a question or a comment.
Go ahead, Director Boatwright.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you. Don, question. The Crystal Falls Water Treatment Plant, is that part of the water treatment plant consolidations when Sierra Pines is built?
It sure is. It sure is. It's I don't know if it's number one on the target, but it's a high priority.
Thank you.
Okay, great, thank you. So this is the Upper Columbia ditch when there was no water in the ditch and we were relying on our water supply storage tanks. And another photo when there was no water in the ditch at section 4. And then this is the Eureka ditch, just again, more trees down. And then this next one is on the lower Soulsbyville. So we had, so this is one of our employees, Fernando Toledo. And right down from him on the photo, you can see where the berm gave way due to the tree falling out, and the root system was supporting the berm. And so this required us to get out there and put in about a 60-foot stretch of temporary pipe until we can go back in there and make a permanent repair.
Yeah, that looks like fun.
Yeah. Can you imagine hiking in all those bags of concrete and that pipe and the tools?
That's how it had to get in, was be hiked in.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
I'm not, I wasn't out here personally, but I feel like I heard that they actually went and got a aluminum boat and piled all the a lot of the concrete and equipment and slid it with a come along or some sort of a winch down the bank to get it down here while the crews walked in, something along those lines. If Eric was here, he could tell you a little more than that. But yeah. You know,
unbelievable.
yeah. Really proud of the guys, you know, working hard and making things happen.
That's good creative thinking there. Right on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we had, you know, kind of jumping forward to the resolution, and I put this in the staff report for the resolution, that basically when, you know, when these things happen, when we have our ditches are overwhelmed with snow and water or have frozen or something, it's all hands on deck. The only way to respond is just to get as many people out there as we can get out there. And we had almost 40 folks out there working feverishly and tirelessly during these holidays, and just did a fantastic job. And we have very creative minds, and yeah, so just can't say enough about the crews there. So then on the upper Soulsbyville, this is another photo of the storm, or of the snow in the ditch while there was no water. And then also on the upper Soulsbyville, this is when water was flowing. That's a beautiful picture. And this is, if you can see, as long as your band of our own photos live stream, if you can see at the very top of that photo, this is the Eureka Flume B that earlier in the slide deck, we saw the tree going through it with John Pesci on the phone down below. This is the repair work there. You can see the new boards. I think Eric told me they were called girders. I apologize if I'm butchering that, but so that's the temporary, or the repair they made on that.
And what's also to note, those tin sheets up there, some of those are bent. You know, they have a curve to them. They have to be specially ordered. So, you know, Kenny in our warehouse and Eric and everybody did a great job of on the fly trying to find some material for us to get this thing repaired as quickly as possible. So,
yeah. So that is the end of the slideshow. Does anyone have their hand up? I'm not seeing.
No, not at the moment.
Okay, thank you, Corey. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing screen here. Okay. And so now I would like to present the resolution. You know, like I said, we had almost 40 employees out, you know, when most people are enjoying family time and a little bit of relaxation time off from work. We had about half the district that was out and physically through the snow, hiking through the snow with all of these things, working the water treatment plants, making sure we had storage, that we didn't run out of storage, that we were moving generators from here and there and keeping power as much as possible, because we were also dealing with lack of power in various areas. So just can't say enough. You know, this, obviously we need all of this water. This helps our water supply, but it can be a bugger to deal with. And so,
hey, Abby, before you go to the resolution, may I interrupt a little bit?
Yes.
There's a couple more things I think I'd like to point out. One is, you know, like I said, this, you know, the district has dealt with this many, many times over the years. And we understand that we know the workload. We understand that these things are going to happen to us. It's a way of life here in the mountains. It's a kind of a rite of passage. It's not every year we go through this level of effort, but when we do, it's, the crews really rally together and they bond together and they are resourceful, as you can see. It's kind of a rite of passage. The other thing is, not all of the things that we suffered damage you're able to see. We also, when the power goes off and on, modern technology, right? It's really great until it isn't great. And so we have an awful lot of really sensitive technical equipment on all our treatment plants and well sites and tank sites and booster station sites. Well, they don't care for that constant fluctuating of power. So we've lost thousands of dollars worth of analytical equipment at some of our treatment plants. It all has to get replaced. So just want to throw a little bit more out there to you. Thank you, Abby.
Yeah, thank you, Don. That's all really important to note. So without further ado, I would like to read through this resolution because I want to hit all the key points and make sure that I recognize all these folks that we were just talking about. So this is a resolution expressing appreciation to district staff for their dedication to the district and the community during recent storms through the Christmas and New Year's holidays. Whereas beginning with the Christmas holiday and the week that followed through New Year's Day weekend, January 2nd, 2022, Tuolumne County experienced days of storms and severe weather. As a result of the extreme weather conditions, emergency response was needed due to sections of the ditches being blocked with accumulations of snow, ice, and debris, ditch berm failures, damage from fallen trees, power outages, generator and SCADA failures, and all resulting in an extraordinary number of after hours for holidays, nights, and weekends, and hundreds of hours of overtime while the crews worked tirelessly to maintain continuous water and wastewater services to the residents of Tuolumne County. And while many were enjoying their friends, families, and joys of the season, nearly 40 TUD employees dropped everything and showed up for the community. And district staff worked as a cohesive team with diligence and tenacity during this time, displaying extraordinary commitment and dedication, working long and arduous hours in harsh weather conditions. Whereas the Board of Directors of Tuolumne Utilities District and the residents of Tuolumne County served by the district commend the following district staff for working around the clock to maintain and restore order to the district's various water and wastewater systems. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Directors of the Tuolumne Utilities District as follows. All involved district personnel are commended for their outstanding efforts above and beyond the call of duty and recognized for their sacrifice during this time frame, but especially the following individuals who work multiple days on the Christmas and New Year's holidays and regularly scheduled days off. So in operations, which is the bulk of these folks, I would like to recognize each one of these folks. Operations, Eric Hall, Frank Castaneda, Justin Hegel, Raw Water, John Pesci, Matt Pfeiffer, Trevor Larson, Gabe Thomas, Taylor Westberg, Jacob Love. In distribution, Justin Terzich, Robert Betzler, Daniel Rodriguez, Gino Pinocchio, Curtis Wainwright, Thomas Powell. In water, Kurt Byers, Josh Lagarbo, Carl Anderson, Regan Pertz, Jacob Stone, Jakin Laxag, Keith Hockett, Darren Balalunga. In collections, Aidan Whitmer, Andrew Johnson, Kerry Westbrook, Jack Adamak. Wastewater treatment, Michelle Perkins, Jeremy Heister, Manny Espino, and Baron Burge. Construction maintenance, Doug Everhart, Robbie Byers, Louis Paz, Tyler Hockett, Josh Capel, CJ Sorick, Fernando Toledo, and Zach Fredrickson. And in finance, Emily Long and Kenny Ingram, who, again, we mentioned had to come back, order materials in a pinch, and also had to load readings in the meter systems and everything so that we could continue operations. So with that, it is my pleasure to offer this resolution and recommend it to the Board of Directors for adoption to recognize these folks for their outstanding efforts during this storm. And I will answer any questions that you have.
Thank you, Abby.
Welcome.
Would any, I know I would like to comment and say my thank yous, but would any board member like to go next? David Boatwright, Director Boatwright.
Buttons are not clicking this morning. Then, just a large thank you to all of our staff that, put out effort during these foul weather conditions. The conditions out in the field can be, arduous, just, beyond belief at times. And certainly appreciated having a staff that's dedicated to, continuing the water service, both the water side and the wastewater side. Thank you to every one of them.
We have Director Murphy, then Director Kearns, and then Director Ringen.
I'd like to just add a huge thank you. As a direct user in Sonora, I just really appreciate that while knowing that you guys were out there taking care of all of this stuff, of the infrastructure, that water was still flowing out of everybody's taps at home. And that's amazing. And the timeliness that you're able to bring things back on so that there is no interrupted use for the vast majority of us, that over those holiday times, lots of food, lots of dishes, lots of people needing to use the facilities, and you guys gave of yourselves and your time and your that time that you have to spend with your families, that you were out there doing the work that needed to get done in the extreme conditions. So just as a board member and also as an end user of that water, I just really appreciate the time and energy, and having lugged research equipment up and down hills and things like that. Totally, the innovation of figuring out how to get stuff in these extreme conditions with just so much stuff needing to get to the locations, and those bags of Quikrete are heavy. Just understanding that, and understanding that the backcountry aspect of this, on the ingenuity that you guys come up with every day, but especially in these situations. And I hope, as Dawn said, that there's a lot of camaraderie in there, and that there's a lot of pride and that kind of, I was in it. So I hope that that's a little bit of a reward as well. But thank you, absolutely, for all that you do for us.
Hey, Director Kearns, and then Director Ringen.
Yeah, I too want to express my appreciation and thanks. I know a lot of those guys, as we all do, and I've talked to several of them since all this went down, and heard some of the war stories, and pretty impressive, very impressive job that they've done. And some of the comments I heard, it looked like a war zone in some areas, and everything from live PG&E lines down to trees, as Abby showed us earlier, and many other hurdles they had to get over, and very impressive. I'm very proud of them, and I think this resolution is spot on. And again, thank you, staff, very much.
Go ahead, Director Ringen.
Okay, well, I don't think I need to repeat everything that has just been said, because I totally agree with it all. And I think for all the years I've been associated with TUD and on the board, I think the crews know exactly how I feel about them, that I have great admiration and so on for them and the work that they do. I'll say this, that for those of us that were up the hill in elevation to different extents, no power, no heat, no lights. But hey, the water, you could turn on the water, you could flush the toilet. So maybe GM Perkins would like to invite PG&E down for a little lesson from the TUD crews.
Corey, I'd like to say a few words.
Yeah, go ahead, Director Balin.
Thank you, Abby, for putting together that wonderful resolution and calling out everybody, saying everybody's name. I think that is very important to workers and their families too. I want to thank their families for essentially making room in their holiday for keeping our community in water. It's phenomenal sacrifice. I also want to thank PG&E for their outstanding ability to get their portion of the Flume back in water. Otherwise, it could have had more snow load on our system. And so PG&E, thank you for cooperating and being on speed dial with our crews. And Don, I wanted to give you a special thank you because one, you're familiar with this system. So that eliminated let's say a situation where it was more like the Keystone Cops, you know, and so I appreciate your ability to understand that generator goes there, that pump needs to be turned on, et cetera. That's enormous value to the whole community. And everyone, like Eric Hall, who worked with the tribes. And Don, you made those phone calls. You did that outreach to the rest of the community, to Twainhart, to Utica Power, to Calaveras. They again were involved in offering their help, and this was a larger mobilization. And also to the staff, Steve and all the finance people behind the scenes, folks that make coffee, everybody. Yeah, it's all hands on deck, and it's like a fire camp. So the other folks, I wanted to thank Eric Hall again for facilitating. Our hope is to go after the repair money at the county level so we can get some reimbursement. And I know Eric Hall is working on that now in terms of our county being declared a disaster. And that's very important that we can get some reimbursement on that. So I just appreciate that. Let's see, I think that's about it. So yes, just a tremendous job everybody did. And is there any more comment? Is there any comment from the public, Corey?
Not at the moment, no.
Okay, then with that, is there a motion to approve the resolution?
I'm happy to make that motion.
I'll second it.
Thank you both. Any more discussion? And any discussion from the public, Corey?
Not at the moment, no.
Okay, then Melissa, will you please call for the vote?
Okay, Director Balin,
Aye.
Director Boatright,
Aye.
Director Kearns,
Aye.
Director Murphy,
Aye.
Director Ringen.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes 5-0.
Thank you all.
Thank you all
very much.
Appreciate the
More.
time.
I just will add more information on the storm response will be forthcoming in the operations report as well. So we'll have some more updates on the response for that and how we recovered from that, because we're still kind of picking up some of the pieces right now. So I just wanted to share that with you as well. But we wanted to definitely recognize staff most importantly. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good. Okay. So Melissa, will you please read our next item of business?
Item number 5, President Selection of Board Representatives for Committees and Organizations for 2022.
Okay, well, I think that was included in the board packet, and it shows everybody's assignments for the year. And I would just like to say that as we go into our first committee meetings, that we again visit the purpose of the committee and make sure that we're clear on that, on the purpose of the committee as a recommending body. And other than that, I have no other comments on the assignments, on the committee assignments. Okay, any comments from directors before I open up to public? Seeing none. Corey, is there any member of the public that wishes?
Director Boatwright just raised his hand for a comment, and there are no public comment at the moment.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, please.
Sorry about that. A little bit late jumping in there. The only question I have is on the TUD representatives. I see I'm listed on LAFCO. Who will I go through for information on that, or will that information come through on the TUD email as well?
Let me see. That's, yeah, Director Ringen was LAFCO last year. Ron, how did that work?
Well, it didn't work real well, but thanks to Melissa, she got a hold of the county. And who you're going to have to go to, Director Boatwright, probably will be to go back through Melissa so that you are then, the county's told that you are now the representative from TUD. And then you need to get, maybe ask Melissa if she would be kind enough to ask Clancy Yaley to put you on the email list, and then you'll get the advance notice of the meetings and what the agenda is going to be and so on. To be really honest with you, I never attended one meeting last year because I did not want to waste not only my time, but TUD's money for the stipend or anything else, because every single meeting that they had, which they were few, had to do with Groveland Community Services and their issues over there. And that, of course, didn't have anything to do with TUD. So that's why I just watched the agenda items, and had there been anything that I felt was pertinent to TUD, I'd have been all over it. But you can handle it any which way you want because you're in the driver's seat now. But that's going to be how you're going to have to get the information, is go through Clancy Yaley. She's the one that pretty much handles that on the county end.
All right. Thank you, Director Ring.
You bet.
Thank you. Okay, well then let's move to staff reports.
All right, I'll go first. First of all, I'm sure most of you know, but on January 4th, the State Water Resources Control Board adopted an emergency regulation that prohibits certain wasteful water use practices statewide and encourages Californians to monitor their water use while closely supporting habits to use water wisely. That shouldn't be much of a concern for us because we already adopt all of those wise water policies, practices. So that's, we'll keep monitoring that and bring anything to you that comes up. On January 20th, I'm going to attend City of Sonora Oversight Board Meeting, which I am on there. I'm the representative down there on the bottom of the list. I'm not sure what that's going to entail, but if there's something worthy of note, I'll bring the report back to you on that. You should know that we're under contract with Redistricting Insights to convert to by-division elections, and Max Rexroad and Melissa will be working to schedule some public hearings. And lastly, you should know, in case you get some inquiries, we have begun our annual flushing of our water systems. And I think they're in Sonora. They typically like to begin in the upper regions, but it's full of snow, so they started down low. That's all I have.
Yeah, we have Eric with his hand up, and then Steve right after.
Okay, very good. I just wanted to give the board a real quick update on the regional wastewater treatment plant project. They poured the clarifier slab, which was the east clarifier, last week. Tomorrow, they'll be pouring the west clarifier slab. It's about a 200 cubic yard pour. It starts around 6:30 in the morning, finishes up around noontime. So things are going well. We've outlaid about $5 million on the project thus far. A lot of that was related to engineering, but We will be providing the board a monthly update on the project, so you can monitor progress going forward. Also, I wanted the board to know that December 14th on your agenda, we discussed the washer compactor for the Law and Justice Center. And at that time, there was ongoing conversations with the county about their participation. And I want to acknowledge the county and express appreciation to them for they've stepped up and are contributing funds for the purchase of that unit. I believe some of those funds come out of the Sheriff's Department budget, but really want to acknowledge them. They've been great to work with, Tracy Riggs and Eric Earhart over in the CAO's office. So that's all I have to report.
Good morning, board members. Tag Mitt here. Just a couple of quick items that I think wanted to bring to your attention. You know, first and foremost, we're at the end of a calendar year. That means a lot of payroll, financial stuff going on. But part of our board policies is that we, after December 31st, will do a mid-year budget review. And we're also working on bringing a CIP presentation, a mid-year CIP presentation to the board. This is much more of a deep dive than our normal quarterly financial information. So we're anticipating hopefully bringing that to the board the second meeting in February, but we want it to be comprehensive, want it to be informative. So just board be aware that that's coming. The second matter is something brand new and potentially you may hear about from our constituents. It's been a long time coming, and it has to deal with when the governor first did the mandate. One of the requirements was that we could no longer shut off water for non-payment to residential customers. That was part of the original act in March of 2020. Prior to that, we've always had in our policies very specified procedures when somebody will be shut off, turned off, disconnected, and we abide by those. That's what we go by. And of course, it's not to anyone's benefit to shut somebody off. We work diligently, long before COVID, we work diligently with our customers, with our staff to not turn off anybody if we don't have to. And that's always been our premise, and our staff do an outstanding job with that. Well, in late 2019, California passed a law, SB 998, and it was part of the rights to water for all and some of these other things. And that specified what procedures you have to now, additional procedures, go through to shut off water to renters, to residential units. It was very comprehensive. We did extensive work on that with legal counsel, with other agencies, and that was incorporated into our water rules and regulations prior to the start of 2020. It meant major changes to how we do things here in the office, how we coordinate with our customers, notification requirements, providing it in 5 different languages. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Well, that got rolled out for one billing cycle before COVID hit and the governor's order came into effect. So for now, almost 2 years, we have not turned anybody off. We elected to not do any late charges, late payment penalties, which was not addressed by the governor's order, but we felt that was the appropriate thing to do. And, the idea was that, businesses were closed, schools were closed, people were losing their jobs, all this. So it was set to expire September 30th. September 28th or 29th, someone in Sacramento decided to extend that to December 31st. Not a lot of fanfare, just kind of got done. It's very different for PUCs than it is governmental agencies. But effective December 31st, all of those requirements have expired. So after extensive research, talked with the legal counsel, some other things, we worked very diligently with our customers over the past 2 years. I'm proud to say we have controlled our delinquencies very well during that time period, in spite of not being able to shut off water. But now we're to the point we need to reinstitute and start back up water shutoffs. There are no requirements how long you do that, but we thought it was important to give our customers notice of that and also to let the board know as well. So what we're going to do is we do typically what's called a courtesy notice when someone is 10 days late. They have originally 30 days to pay their bill. They get another 4 to 5 days before they're considered late. 10 days after that, we typically file a courtesy notice reminding them that they are late. They may be subject to penalties, and they will be given a turn-off date. The turn-off date has to be at least 60 days delinquent before you can do that. So you can see it just kind of expands on and on and on. So next week, we will send out our first batch. We're going to take the bill, redo the language to explain all this, and our first batch of courtesy notices will go to delinquent customers, notifying them that approximately mid-March, we will be reinstituting the shutoffs. Now, what happens with the shutoffs, we are required to give them 10-day notice before they are actually turned off. All our customer service representatives will personally call every single customer and see if they can make a payment arrangement. Typically, we start off, being that we haven't done this in 2 years, we're going to start off with a sizable list, but customer service typically is able to whittle that down because, like I said, our goal is not to turn anybody off. But I thought it very important to take this time. I know that's a lot of me talking at you, but to make the board be aware that this notice is going to start going out next, probably January 19th. And then in March, we will actually start turnoffs, and we will be charging late fees again on that as well. So I'd be happy to answer any questions. Director Ringen, I see you raised your hand right away.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to ask, because of this COVID mess, have you had, not you, but I mean, does TUD have a fairly large amount of people that are in arrears that you're going to have to try and get caught up on?
Yeah, that's been a lot in the press about the arrearages and problems. I would like to say I'm proud. We were very proactive. Starting March 20th, as soon as we stopped this, we've been working with our customers and doing a payment plan. So I think we have fared extremely well compared to other agencies. This is something I track every day as far as deposits coming in and late notices and that one. And I just checked before the board meeting. As it stands right now, we have about 300 customers that would fall into this category. And that's out of 15,000 connections. So I feel very comfortable that $300 to me, or 300 customers is just a astronomically low number for what we've been through for 2 years. So we've been very active of it. And again, once we start this, it is a change. For 2 years, we haven't had to send our guys out because our guys have to physically go out, turn off the meter, and hang a notice to the customer, as well as some other things they do on the back end here in the office. But it will mean additional work. We're back here, but we've not been charging late fees, which we're entitled to under the rules. And these people, some of them haven't been. One of the real concerns I have is a lot of these people are renters, and the landlords get a late notice the same time the renter does. But the landlord is ultimately responsible for these fees. So we'll do everything we can to try and collect from the renter. But if the renter upside leaves and the landlord hasn't collected anything on their side, then we may hear about that as well. For you long-term board members, you know how the landlords are and their interest here. So I hope that helps answer your question, Director Ringen.
Yeah, actually, thank you very much for that. That 300 customers or so, that isn't good, but I think it's fantastic that the TUD crew was able to keep it to as low a number as that, because I was fearful that it was way, way up. And if it was, then it would mean that even though those 300 customers may owe a fair amount of money,
Yes.
if it was up in the thousands, well, we'd have a real problem, probably trying to keep the doors pried open. Anyway, thank you.
Yeah, and historically, we always have a number in there. You know, there's people who just don't pay, whether it's COVID or not. And in that case, we have the ability to file a lien and do some other things. Of these 300, they are not just during COVID. They were there beforehand. It has risen a little bit, but not a lot. Director Boatwright?
Actually, Abby's had her hand up before I did that. Okay.
I assume it's on this subject matter. That's why I called you, and Abby's very patient.
Go ahead, Director Boatwright. Mine's just a staff report. Thank you.
Okay. Steve, are any of the programs that state or federal had open for assistance still ongoing that, you know, we can at least get information to our customers on?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, we've been having Lisa trying to work with people all along. Even before the state created these programs, we reach out to Interfaith, the Catholic Charities. We've got a number of them that we refer people to. The biggest challenge I have with the state is at the present time between the federal and state, I think there's about 12 different programs, and they kind of compete with each other. And so we've asked Lisa to help us draft. We're going to put a notice on the website about reinstituting shutoffs. We're also going to have a link on that website to some of these programs where they can apply for it. Right now, when our customer service staff reaches out to our customers, they do assist them. There are still active, some programs have ceased now that it's December 31st, but there still are active programs both at the state as well as federally. And we'll see right now, I think a lot of people are going to start reinstituting shutoffs, and whether or not the state can assist further with that, we'll see. But good question, and yes, we'll refer our customers to that as well as we have been.
All right, thank you.
So thank you for your time. I know that was a lot, but it's really important to us here. It's a big change, and it's something that I think potentially you as being members of the community may hear about, or people reach out for your role as a board member. Thank you. All yours, Abby.
Awesome. Thank you, Steve. So I just wanted to share with the board that per the direction at the last board meeting, the district did enter into an agreement with Raftellus for communication and outreach planning and implementation. And we got kicked off with them yesterday on an internal team to discuss some of the goals and things, and you guys will all be receiving, we will be reaching out to each and every one of you, and we'll be receiving calls from the project manager at Raftellus to share with them your thoughts. And so I just wanted you to know that we're hitting the ground running, and that you can anticipate having some conversations with them as well as our internal team moving forward about our communications plan. So that's what I have for today. Thank you.
Any other staff wishing to comment? Okay. All right, then let's move to director's communication reports. Anybody like to go first? Okay, well, I guess I'll pipe up. Well, first of all, thank you, Steve. For your humanitarian and compassion and approach to, it's tough times now for a lot of folks and so I appreciate your making every effort. So thank you for that. Yesterday, I attended the Natural Resources Committee, and let's see, that's Supervisor Kirk and Supervisor Half, and that we spent some time. First of all, we were there to, of course, talk about the expenses that TUD incurred in terms of storm repair. And they were very open to that's our situation. I also sent I just briefly, that they focused a lot on Forest Service policy for fire. And so that was a large discussion. And what I did is offer to send them some cost avoidance data. I mean, these are costs that you avoid by doing proper vegetation management, including prescribed burns. So I got those to those folks, including Dory and Liz Peterson. And I also sent them the congressional testimony that Max Moritz, who's a fire ecologist, gave in Congress that said we have two different things going on. We've got forest fires, which ACCG and vegetation management risk reduction work is fine, but we also have urban firestorms like the Marshall Fire, which blew through whole neighborhoods, and that's a different animal requiring different tools. So if anybody's interested, I can send them the links. I know I sent Dawn the links, but we're all in this together, and TUD definitely has water resources to contribute to any efforts in fighting our urban firestorms, because they move through urban built environments very quickly. So that was that, and I think that's all I have to report. So thank you. Any other director? Okay.
I have no reports at this time.
Okay.
We have Director Ringen and then Director Boatright.
Okay, on 12/15, attended the T-Stan Irwin Water Advisory Committee meeting and JPA meetings. The major portion of the meetings revolved around projects that were going to be attached to a grant application, which once again, these are local projects that really need to get done and are important. And so that was really good. On 12/20, attended Mountain Counties Water Resource Association Legislative Committee Reform Process meeting. And so this is the first meeting we've had of any real value. And we're starting to try and get the legislative committee reformed so that it will be able to better serve the Mountain County's board of directors and also the GMs of the participating utilities and so on. And on 1/3, attended a last minute almost T-Stan Irwin JPA meeting. And the reason why I was called at the last minute was to take and add 2 more projects to the grant. So we got our fingers crossed. It looks good. One of the projects involves one of the tribes, and that's always a good thing. We've got good rapport with the tribes, and this just makes it be that much better. So that's it for me.
Okay.
Director Boatright.
I have no reports at this time. Thank you.
I wanted to call folks' attention real quickly. Thank you, Director Ringen, for bringing up grants. The money that's being infused in California under the current administration is really substantial. And thank you, Melissa, for sending out that Newsom budget has billions for drought, fires, and farms. And I wanted to mention that this is money that we can spend in our county if we're grant ready. And that's the governor's plan includes a $750 million in one-time money to help communities affected by drought, including for water conservation, water efficiency, and replenishing groundwater. And as you know, we do our best to conserve, and we don't always get to keep the water that we don't own in our own county in infrastructure that is not ours. And it's definitely a below rim dam issue, but we're also caught in conservation, and we do a really good job at it. So I'm hoping that some of this money can be funneled into our community, and I appreciate our IRWM and watershed group in doing a vigilance on these grants this coming year. And that's all I have to add. Any other business for the good of the order? Abby.
I just read an email from Eric Hall that said the county declared an emergency, so they approved that. So just got that email a couple minutes ago. We wanted to share that with the board.
Awesome.
You're welcome.
Outstanding. Good job.
Great, good. And also thanks, Steve, for the, I know the crews were keeping good cuff notes on how much we were racking up, and I know the deadline is upon us, and so I appreciate the scramble, but it is a substantial amount we can recover. Great. Oh, good. Big exhale there, man. Okay. All righty. Anything else for the good of the order then? Thanks, Abby. That was good. So hearing anything from the community?
No, at the moment, no.
Okay, well then, with that, meeting is adjourned. Thanks.
Great meeting, everybody. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Have a great day.
Hi, everybody.
Great day.
Bye.